one we wrote down was which recent horror trend do you think is here to stay and which one's fading fast? Is there anything I've noticed? I know the Among Ashes is kind of like a very specific kind of meta thing. Have you noticed anything like that distinct that maybe like should stick around or you hope doesn't go out of style that you've seen recently in games?
I don't think so. I feel like with like, is this about indie horror specifically?
It could be. It could also just be like, I mean, I know we laugh about like yellow paint on crates, like Resident Evil. Like I know that showed up in Chronos, which I thought was really weird. Like just like a copy paste of that. That's like a trend I noticed that I've seen in games for some reason because it really fucks up, you know, especially horror games are out and got like the darkness and all the special lighting guiding you on and creating mood, and you got these fucking goofy ass like neon signed, completely different color boxes in there. That's one trend. I don't know if you'd seen anything that was like really cool or really worth getting rid of.
I think a trend I've noticed is compiling shaders for every fucking game you open. And I have a theory for this. And this is that like meme with the guy from Dexter. It's like I know this is this thing, but I can't prove it. This is a way for the developers to make you have 2 hours in the game, so you can't refund it.
Oh, I mean, it takes a while, yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense to me. There's like so many better looking games that don't require you to compile shaders, and then suddenly it's just come along and it takes about 10 years to do, and the game runs like shit anyway.
It's an Unreal thing.
I don't know because like
it usually happens with Unreal.
Because like,
but
Uncharted 4, you had to do it.
Yeah. I was about to say, but I guess it happened with Battlefield 6 as well. It's not using Unreal. But yeah, I hate that.
Yeah, that's like the main thing that I've noticed with games, compiling shaders.
For me, it's a little of a pain point answer, I guess, in horror games especially, that I wish we would see less. Especially in the last few years, and especially after mouthwashing, people have been making so many psychological horror games, right? Oh yeah, the story was actually about me killing my wife. Oh yeah, it was actually about my dark past. It was actually about my dead grandpa. It was actually this, actually that. It's like, okay, I need you to stop writing, start reading some books, because your writing sucks. It's just every single game these days feels like they're trying to go for like a really deep story, and they're like it's an abysmal failure. And like, I need you to stop the psychological horror approach, and if you're really want to do it, I guess do your research, right? Make it interesting, because it's been done before. It's being done ever since Silent Hill 2, right? Baby's first game. Oh, yeah. And nowadays it's just everybody's trying to make a psychological horror game. Everybody's trying to give YouTubers, you know, something to talk about, I guess. And yes, while some of them are really good, just like mouthwashing, kind of biased. It's our game. I scouted the game, but it's a reality. It's a really good game. And you have other examples too. Like, yes, there are good examples, but other hundreds of examples that try to follow the same steps, they just fail. And I think it's genuinely a lack of just reading more, right? Everybody wants to write, but nobody wants to read. It's like making a movie. Everybody wants to make a movie. Nobody wants to watch, you know, classics. Why do we call them classics? For this reason, because they're classics, they're good. I think that's a problem that I wish would disappear, but I don't know if it's gonna disappear because people seem to like it. Maybe I'm jaded because I've been playing so many of these games. Maybe I'm jaded, but who knows?
I had a similar reaction as you were saying that. I was thinking of the Silent Hill 2 problem, because like all the American ones, right, is just a retelling of like a different family member being inconvenienced by the protagonist, and they're like, oh my god, I can't believe I forgot what I did to my brother stepwife or whatever it is. You know, it's just like, how many times can we do the Silent Hill 2?
You need some B12 in you, brother.
I like the psychological horror where it just doesn't give you an answer for what things are. And that, like, the fear of the unknown, like, you put the pieces together in your head. Like, I played an indie game called Late Homework, I don't know if anyone's played that, but like literally the story of that game is you left your homework at school. That's it. You're going around finding the pages of it, but there's like some psychological elements to it, but it doesn't really. I don't really think it gives you a solid answer for any of it, and I think because of that, it makes it kind of more. Well, it makes you think about it more. Like you're like, what the fuck was that? Why was that person hanging in that room? It just freaks you out, you know?
Thought this
Yeah,
was
that's a
chilling
good
for
kind
a
of-
sec.
Yeah.
This is creepy.
It's
sure.
always
It's a good
scary
kind of
if you
horror.
can't answer it. As soon as you start rationalizing something and trying to, scientifically quantify it, it ceases to be scary anymore. So
Yeah. That's why I like the Evil Within
Reminds me
so
of-
much. Because it's nonsensical. Like, there's still so many things in that game that don't have proper answers, and they're just freaky.
So yeah, it reminds you of
Yeah, like whatever happened to Leslie and Ruvik at the end, you know?
So, gentlemen, just like the last time you were on before, what we do is the previous guest asks you a question, and then you're given the opportunity to ask our next guest question as well. So, our previous guest is Patrick, who's developed Beyond Sun, or part of the team that developed Beyond Sunset, a GZ Doom powered cyberpunk katana game that's just come out, and it's an incredible, fantastic game. He was joined with our guest host, Nick, from the Nth Review, so they both have a question for you both. From Patrick. Now, I'm probably going to butcher this, so I'm hoping that you'll follow, because his was a bit off the wall, his question. For Hurricane Proxidist, you've got 10,000 coins. One of those coins has heads on both sides. You draw a random coin from the pile and flip it 10 times, and it turns up heads every time. What is more likely, that you picked up the coin that has two heads, or that by sheer chance you flipped another coin that turned up heads 10 times in a row?
Huh?
What?
This is what we said. Yeah. it was a. So it's a statistical question. So you've got 10,000 coins, and one of these coins has two heads. And he's saying that if you flip a random coin 10 times, what are the odds that you flipped that coin 10 times, or do you flip 10 random coins out of the 9,999 and they coincidentally landed on heads 10 times in a row? What's statistically more likely?
I think picking out the double-sided heads one. If you flipped it 10 times and it's landed on heads, then it's probably that one.
Yeah. Eric, what's your answer? And then I'll give you the answer because I actually looked at what it is.
I think they're all heads. The entire bag of coins, they're all heads. They're just, fucking with you.
You were deceived, yeah. So the answer is statistically it's about, I think, 2/3 more likely that you've coincidentally flipped 10 coins that landed on their heads 10 times than whether you've picked out the one coin out of 10,000 that had heads, yeah. So he came up with this out of the blue, and we were like, what the hell did we just hear then? Trying to write down his question so I could ask it to you. So, but it's a very interesting question. Nick's question was a lot more straightforward. So his question is simply, and we'll start with her. Why do you like horror games?
Why do I like horror games? It's because they have more problem solving. I think that's like the very surface level answer that I could give. Yeah, inherently, that's why I like horror games. They have the mysteries, they have the puzzles. You're always trying to like solve something, and then at the end you have the big climax. It's not like, I like the survival, I like the horror or whatever, because they never scare me anymore. I just like that mystery, I guess. It's like playing your own mystery novel or movie. That's why I like them. It's like they feel more like a puzzle rather than a challenge that I gotta get over, right? Like, for example, I love Souls-likes. I'm a Souls-like nerd, but I would still choose horror games if I had the ability, because they give me more avenue to problem solve. But that's also why I like Souls-likes as well, for the same reason. There's a problem. How can I solve this problem by the tools that are given to me? guess that's why I like horror games. It's just they have a deeper level of problem solving compared to other genres.
Totally agree
Pretty
with
good
that.
answer.
Yeah. I would say though, just before we ask Proxidist, then that it does feel the same, even though we're a boomer shooter podcast. Of course, there are horror focused first person shooter games and stuff. I do find that even in combat, there is still a puzzle. You have to identify who is the primary enemy and resource management and that sort of thing. So it's every game that you play at the end of the day is a problem solving game, because your goal is to get to the end of it. And that's usually you getting yourself out of some shit situation that you found yourself in. But horror is the one where it feels like you're not necessarily playing the game, it feels like you're in the game. You're that person. You can taste and smell it, hear everything around you, and it's a lot more visceral. But Proxidist, why do you like horror games?
I think it's because fear is like the main emotion that sticks with me. If that makes sense. Because when I was a kid, I used to like, if something scared me, it would terrify me. Like if I turned the lights off, I would think of that thing instantly. And like I was a massive I was just scared of everything. So when I played like Resident Evil 7 for the first time, it scared the shit out of me. And because of that fear I felt, it just always reoccurs in my head over and over again. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very personal thing. Like, things that scare me intrigue me. So,
a totally understandable point of view. It's engaging a part of your brain that isn't usually in function during the day. It only comes out at specific times. So that makes sense. But just random question before we go into the competition and to everyone. With horror games, what is your preferred way of playing them? Do you like first-person games, third-person games, tank controls? Do you have like a preference? And I just want to go across the screen. So, Deadforge, what's your take?
My preferred way to play a horror game? Is that what the question was?
Yeah. What type in terms of first-person tank controls? Yeah.
I don't know. That's really tough. I guess. So I kind of like the, not really necessarily tank controls, but I think I actually like the third person or over the shoulder perspective more than first person and more than like tank controls. So think, Dead Space, Evil Within, things like that. And I really don't like, first person's like more visceral. It's more like you're that person, you're in the horror, it's whatever. But I feel like third person's more cinematic. It's more interesting because not only are you, you're experiencing it, you're playing a character, you're not the character, but you're observing a character and their reactions and how that all feels. And something about it, I feel like it just feels a bit more horrifying to not only experience the horror yourself, but also experience someone else experiencing the horror simultaneously.
Yeah.
Kind of like watching and playing a horror movie at the same time.
Yeah. It's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah. Her, what about yourself?
Mine's got to be first person / VR.
Oh,
I would actually be more VR leaning, but there aren't many good VR horror games. Like the one that I'm thinking of is Half-Life Alyx, and it's not really a horror game, but it has horror sequences. It's actually VR, but we're not there yet. So I'm gonna go with first person because it's just more personal. I can't really use the camera to, see the corner, because I will try to do that absolutely to see if there's anything there. With first person, I can't really do that. I have to turn the corner, just paste whatever is there if something is there, and that unknown element enters into it. It's like, I'm using my eyes to see. I can't really use any other camera tricks to see what's happening. It's not cinematic, and I think that's why I like it. I don't want it to be cinematic. I want it to be immersive, personal, just right in my face. But like I said, barely anything scares me these days. Unfortunately, I wish they scared me. But if something really wants to make me uncomfortable and makes me, think twice before turning a corner, it has to be first person.
Proxidist?
I'm mixed between third and first person. I think it just heavily depends on the game itself. Like, Resident Evil 7, for example, I don't think it would be anywhere near the same as it is if it was in third person. And Village, they tried doing that with a third person mode, and again, it doesn't hit the same at all. But then there's something like Dead Space, for example. I don't think that would work in first person too well. I just think it heavily depends on the game and what it's designed for, but like, if I was to choose one, probably over the shoulder third person. But it's very close.
Medium?
Yeah, I'm a little bit split too. 7 and like Alien Isolation are really good versions of games that really don't work unless they're in first person. They're very well tuned for that. I'm a little bit... I feel like it can be the best in first person, but I think I'm a little bit more partial to the fixed camera angles. The Lacerator game is actually a really good litmus test for this, because you can switch in the menu at will between over the shoulder and between just fixed camera angle.
Yeah, I tried looking at it earlier as well.
It was so much easier to play, to the point of it kind of being like almost dry, like a little bit boring over the shoulder. Like certain sections you had to switch to it because the controls are like so bad on the aiming. Like he's just wobbling like this, just doing this crazy thing with the guns. You had to use it over the shoulder for some of the enemies. But generally speaking, it was like such a much more effective experience if you didn't have the luxury of being able to cheese around corners with the camera to shoot like these explosive little enemies that had like mines on their back and they crawl up to you and kill you in one hit. So you could cheese them out by just kind of inclining your arm, just the way his body naturally goes around the corner with a gun. And I was like, okay, that's stupid. But it was like something you kind of had to do to like not bang your head against the wall. But I just noticed the game went from being sort of like a thing I was beating up on, like picking on, by switching it to over the shoulder, versus a game that was like making me take it seriously for the fixed camera angle. So I think I'm probably a third person fixed camera person, but there are definitely instances where first person is like generally gonna hit so much better and there's no other way to do it, kind of thing. I think you've got like the high bell curve up the first person, but generally speaking, the average third person fixed will probably be the most effective, just based on what people normally are good at. Yes. All right, guys. So Julian of Threshold fame has graciously bequeathed us with 5 more codes for that game. So we're going to do it pretty much just like we did it last time. So we got 5 codes. We're going to flash them on the screen at obviously different intervals throughout the game. So you have 5 chances throughout this recording to score one of said keys. So it's first come, first serve. If you hit one that's already been hit, I almost promise, I can't guarantee, but I almost promise someone probably got to it before you. We didn't just give you a bum code. So keep searching if at first you don't succeed, because they're out there. 5. Get to hunting.
Good luck. Yeah.
I made the best 5 if you win.